of the government's response when major lapses occur, not just the specific actions that we take, but also the broader issue of government responsibility and accountability. This is a question which many Singaporeans have raised and which Ms. Sylvia Lim has asked in a parliamentary question. DPM Wong Kan Seng explained at length yesterday what the Ministry of Home Affairs has done in the case of Mas Selamat. Let me now present the government's overall approach and then give my views on the Mas Selamat case. The government's aim is to try our best to do things right the first time. This means planning well ahead for the future, anticipating problems, preparing for contingencies, and so avoiding major lapses as far as possible. We put the best people we can find in charge at every level in government and the public service, and hold them responsible for delivering performance and results. But despite our best efforts, we know that things do go wrong from time to time. Officers are human and will make mistakes. Plans go wrong in the implementation. The unexpected catches us by surprise, and organizations get set in their ways and fail to anticipate problems. To achieve one overriding goal, we often accept trade-offs and compromises for other desired results, and then fall short. As our systems and challenges become more complex, inevitably from time to time there will be bad outcomes and occasionally even serious lapses. Even when something goes wrong, we have to deal with it decisively and effectively. Our first priority is to respond to the immediate crisis and then to identify the shortcomings and put them right. We must also take steps to ensure that the problem does not recur. This means not just quick fixes, but also, where necessary, fundamental changes to systems and organizations to address deeper problems revealed by the lapse. But at the same time, we should not overreact to one bad incident. If we go overboard in trying to solve one problem, the chances are we will inadvertently commit other mistakes which we will regret later. For example, encumbering an organization with unwieldy rules and processes may look good on paper, but in practice will simply generate a false sense of security while hindering the organization from functioning efficiently and achieving its goals. Besides corrective measures, we will give as full a public accounting as possible, especially if it is a major lapse. Singaporeans need to know what went wrong and what the government will do to fix things. Having done all that, we have to establish who specifically are responsible for the lapse and what disciplinary action should be taken. Several questions will have to be addressed. Was it a correct decision which turned out badly because of external factors which could not have been foreseen? Was it an honest mistake, something that happened despite the best efforts of the officers involved? Was there negligence or incompetence on the part of the officers? Was there criminal misconduct? Was the cause localized mistakes by a few persons, or was it deeper? Wrong institutional mindsets or systemic weaknesses in the organization? These issues have to be investigated by departmental inquiries, by committees of inquiry, or commissions of inquiry, or where there's possible criminal misconduct by the CID, the Criminal Investigation Department. Based on the findings, we will then allocate responsibility impartially and objectively. We will not just blame the officers directly involved. Those with supervisory oversight or who are responsible for flawed systems will also be held to account. The minister is ultimately accountable for the policies and operations of his ministry. But this does not mean that if a lapse occurs down the line somewhere, every level in the chain of command, up to and including the minister, should automatically be punished or removed. Based on the facts, we have to decide who fell short in performing his duties and what is the appropriate disciplinary action for each officer involved. We also have to follow due process, giving officers the chance to defend themselves. Otherwise, we will demoralize the organization and discourage officers from taking initiative or responsibility for fear of being punished for making mistakes. This same principle of responsibility and accountability also applies to ministers. It's the Prime Minister's duty to decide how each minister has performed in his portfolio. Hence, when a lapse happens, I will ask the same questions of a minister. How is he involved in the matter? Has he been incompetent or negligent? Most serious of all, is there a question of integrity? If so, he has to go, even if the actual incident is minor. I will also ask, is the minister able to put things right, or does the situation call for a new pair of hands, not encumbered by what went before, to take charge and make a fresh start? Of course, the Prime Minister himself is accountable too, to Parliament and ultimately to the electorate. However, we should not encourage a culture where officials and ministers resign routinely whenever something goes wrong on their watch, regardless of whether or not they are actually to blame. That would be the easy way out. It may temporarily appease an angry public, but it will not fundamentally solve the problem. The basic issue is whether the person is culpable. If so, we must act against him, no matter how senior the position. But if he is not at fault, then we must have the moral courage to state so and support him. This way, everybody within the organization can be confident that when something goes wrong, they will not be sacrificed for political expediency. And this is what the government has done in the Mas Selamat incident. When Mas Selamat escaped, MHA's immediate response was to try to track him down. The ministry alerted the public within hours. DPM Wong updated Parliament the very next day and apologized for the lapse. He also convened a committee of inquiry to find out the reasons Mas Selamat was able to escape. And in parallel, CID launched an investigation. The COI submitted its findings 6 weeks after the event. That means 2 weeks ago. The COI has done a thorough investigation and reported its findings and recommendations. CID has also completed its investigation and found no evidence of collusion. Nevertheless, arising from the COI findings, MHA, the ministry, has decided to replace the officers at the Whitley Road Detention Centre responsible for Mas Selamat's escape and to take disciplinary action against them, including not just the junior officers, but also the supervisory and management levels. The Cabinet has been briefed on this. I have gone through the COI report myself, the full report, and discussed the matter carefully with DPM Wong and the other Cabinet ministers. I am satisfied that the ministry has taken the correct remedial and disciplinary action and that the minister and top management were not to blame for what has happened. DPM Wong Kan Seng as the minister and the director of ISD both continue to have my full confidence. We must admit our mistakes openly and honestly, put them right, and act against those who have been culpable. But the last thing we need is a witch hunt, which would damage and demoralize our intelligence and security agencies.